Hello, how are you doing? I hope that you guys are having a great Friday wherever you are located in the world. I just want to come and talk to my people just for a little while, if you have me. Okay? Um, you haven't been paying attention. The Donald, who is now, I guess, the 47th president of the United States of America, has written an executive order to revoke what is commonly known as the Civil Rights Act of 1965. Um, the Civil Rights Act of 1965 guaranteed fair practices in hiring and offering different privileges to citizens, minorities, those are considered minorities in the United States of America. Mainly at the time was created just to benefit people of African descent and known as Black people in the 1960s. As a result of the civil rights movement. Okay. And so this guaranteed fair practices in hiring Black people. This was supposed to guarantee fair housing. Black people, of course, were discriminated against in terms of getting adequate, affordable housing and loans or what have you. So the Civil Rights Act of 1965 was supposed to, make it better for Black people to live in a house in the neighborhood of their dreams, right? Also, it was supposed to guarantee voting privileges, and I think they did the Voting Rights Act later on in the 60s to kind of like nail it in so that Black people can participate in elections and vote without any type of discrimination, any type of oppression, any type of unfair laws. Because at one time, Black people couldn't vote unless they could prove they can read, or they had to pay to vote, which is not a thing and is supposed to be illegal in the United States of America. So the Civil Rights Act of 1965 was supposed to protect Black people from all of that, all of the discrimination that Black people had to endure post the Civil War, post the so-called Emancipation Proclamation, right? So, the Civil Rights Movement, the Civil Rights Act, and everybody was just so happy. And there was a lot of sacrifice. There was a lot of people who were oppressed. There were a lot of people who were incarcerated. And yes, there were some people that were killed. And yes, even in the case of MLK and JFK and Robert Kennedy Jr. and others, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, assassinated due to the civil rights movement and people just trying to take a stand to do what is right for all people. Okay? All right. With that being said, can we honestly look at, I want you to honestly look at everything that's happened in the past 50 to 60 years after the so-called Civil Rights Act. Was it really enforced as much as it should have been enforced? Did this guarantee every Black person in the United States of America will never be discriminated against or treated unfairly on the job just because they were a Black person? Did this guarantee that every Black child will get a fair education just because the Civil Rights Act was signed in 1965? Did that help every Black child in America? Did that guarantee that every Black person that qualified to vote and participate in elections was able to participate in elections without hindrance, without fear of intimidation, and without tampering with the ballots, without all kind of stuff that was happening at all these election polls or what have you in the so-called predominantly Black neighborhoods? And wait, we won't even talk about ex-cons and felons who can't vote. And who are the most felons and ex-cons? Who is incarcerated more than any other race of people? So that means because our people are the ones that's locked up the most, that's our people, are the ones that will not be able to vote and participate in elections. So did the Civil Rights Act and did the Voting Rights Act really help Black people? Was it really enforced in every instance where it should have been enforced? Did it protect the so-called civil rights of every Black person in America? It didn't protect the rights of inmates and prisoners who are just modern day slaves. Hello, the prisoners in Los Angeles risking their lives and fighting wildfires for $10 per day. And they were never trained to become firefighters. They just gave them a hose. Okay, go out there and fight the fire. To save a neighborhood that's not theirs, by the way. A neighborhood they'll never be able to live in, by the way. Because they are felons. Because if you are a melanated person and you have a felony on your record, chances are highly likely you will never live in a really wonderful neighborhood. When you get out of jail, they're going to discriminate against you because you are a Black ex-con. If you are a white ex-con, you could become president. But I won't touch that. I already did, though, didn't I? But anyway, for real, a white ex-con can become the president of the United States. But a Black ex-con can hardly get a job. Have to lie on the application. So tell me, the Civil Rights Act that you guys are crying over. Oh my God, we're gonna go back to Jim Crow. We're gonna go back. We're already in Jim Crow. Well, y'all already in Jim Crow because I left the country. But you've been in Jim Crow. Where have you been? You've been in Jim Crow. Let me tell you something about, yes, white people, Europeans, huh? They got rid of Jim Crow. They got rid of slavery. They got rid of a lot of things so it wouldn't be so obvious how racist they really are. They set up the bipartisan political party system that you guys fight over and you worship and you idolize, but all of them are racist. All of them, Democrats and Republicans. But you still fighting over who to vote for. So they have signed all these laws and bills into effect that really hasn't done anything to help Black people as a whole. It still has not done anything to bring a collective wealth to the Black community. Mr. 47 says that he wants to get rid of all the barriers and that's based upon race and such and such and such. And he wants everything to be merit-based. What is merit? Merit is something that a white man, yes, I said it, a white man set up that everybody holds as a standard. In order for you to have this job, you have to have these credentials. Who set up those requirements and those criteria? White people. Every law, every system, whether it's in politics, whether it's in law enforcement, whether it's in education, and yes, in the government, was set up by white people. Yeah, they may have a Black face sprinkled here and there, just a dash. Black pepper, just a dash. But I promise you, even those Black people that's in those offices and in those positions are being puppeteered and controlled and manipulated by white people, by Europeans. They create the laws, they create the systems, hello, that defines merit. And guess what? If they create the laws and they create the systems that defines merit, guess what? The opportunities that 47 is saying is merit-based is not going to be opportunities that are going to be available to or of any benefit for those of us of African descent or Black people or melanated people. They're not going to be for us. It's not going to benefit us. It never has. It was never set up to do so. And that's what a lot of my people are not aware of. They've been in denial of it. You have spent the past 100 years, the past century, trying to fit in and integrate and assimilate into a system where you don't belong. You get offended when somebody say, go back to Africa. Baby, they're prophesying over you. It's called the Second Exodus. They're setting up systems. It's not to make you afraid. It's not so that you can whine and cry and moan. No. That means, oh, you know what? This is not for me. This is not for my family. I'm out. You just have to make that decision and you have to make that choice. If someone has a system, it's in the system. It's in the, a car has systems. Yeah, I have different systems. And if one system in the car breaks down, the whole car eventually goes out of whack, especially these newfangled cars, as we call them. America is an old Pontiac with a lot of systems. And a lot of our people have been trying to fit in and integrate and assimilate into these systems, not even understanding we were never, ever supposed to benefit. That what we call achievement and Black excellence is based upon what? Based upon what they call excellence. That's not Black excellence. It is another form of white supremacy. You don't want to see Black excellence? Come to the continent. Come to the continent. Look at all the land and all the resources. Look at your people. Look at all the different cultures. Huh? The different languages and ethnicities. Yeah, there are problems here. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it and lie to you, say everything that is the way that it's supposed to be over here, because it's not. It's not. But that's because a few greedy, power-hungry politicians and government leaders are lording over the people. You find you an African country that is not in turmoil, that has good leadership, Tanzania, Burkina Faso, Mali, Benin, Uganda. Nigeria is going to some growing pains right now. Give Nigeria another 3 to 4 years. They'll be where they're supposed to be by then. But the skills and the talents that we have as a people, we could make this place great. And there's so many business opportunities here. So many. And I didn't mention Ghana. Ghana too. They changed the presidency, so it may just be okay now. But you guys are trying to assimilate and integrate into a system where they don't want you. They're not setting up the system to benefit you or your children, our grandchildren. And you sitting there, oh, what do we do? Oh my gosh, he's turning into a dictator. You don't have to stay there. I bet you, hey, I bet you the next thing he'll come up with is if Black people want to leave, I'll come up with a program where I'll pay you to go wherever you want to go and give you a check. He might come up with something like that because he's very unpredictable. If he does, how many of you will take advantage of that? Just take advantage of it. Instead of sitting there, fight for what? Fight for what? Do you not know that America is under judgment? So you sitting there using all your resources, losing all your peace, losing all your joy, trying to fight for a sinking ship. Martin Luther King, the great, late Dr. MLK, he said it himself in the 60s that America was a sinking ship. That's 60 years ago. How much more water has entered into the ship that's known as America? So I don't understand why my people are losing sleep and getting depressed and oppressed and scared. What you scared for? Sell your stuff, pack your stuff, get your passports, and come to the motherland. You do not have to stay there and put up with the BS. Let them try to save their ship themselves. When they have to work the farmlands that they're kicking all the immigrants out of the country that work, they're going to be ticked off. All those jobs that they refuse to take, they're going to have to put their children out there. They're going to be pissed. Because we sure not doing it because slavery is over. Dear hearts, babies, sweeties, just leave. I'm not telling you to renounce your citizenship, but I'm saying, hey, open up your options. You know, the white folks with money are quitting their jobs, they're resigning, they're selling everything, and they're moving to other countries. They're getting second and third citizenship. The smart ones, the ones with money. Why? Because the ones with money knows what's really going on in America. The only ones that you see, oh, make America great again, and God bless America, are the evangelical, redneck, drinking the Kool-Aid MAGA folk that are under a strong delusion. And baby, I promise you, they're going to be the ones that drown with the Titanic. Let them. Let them. They built that ship and they built it faulty. So let them go down with their sinking ship. We don't have to. We don't have to. Come on, babies. Before they start locking up everything and you can't travel, get out. You hear me? Get out. You guys be blessed. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach.